Good evening. Welcome to Port Royal's Council Workshop, November 6, 2024, 6:30 p.m. I just want to say, as I'm sure you guys know, we had an election yesterday. I just want to say thank you to everybody that got out and voted. Thank you to all the people that volunteered, that worked the polls and volunteered and just made that whole process happen, and everyone that participated in it. So, start off, we got presentations. Up first, Deputy Police Chief.
Promotion, sir. You want to introduce Chief Myers?
We got Chief Myers in the back. I don't know if y'all saw, we made a great little social media post about the chief today. Hopefully we got some good information about him. You can read up on him. So he's doing a great job so far. So
Hello, Mayor, Council, city officials. It's a great day here for me. I've only been here a couple weeks. I already got to swear in a brand new officer, and now I get to make a promotion for somebody who's very, very deserving. Before I start, I would like to recognize retired Chief Beach that's here. And also the retiring Deputy Chief. He's going to be retiring at the end of the month. He graciously stayed on an extra month to get me situated. And I just want to say publicly thank him for that. I'll try not to take up too much time, but when I did come here, like I said, it's only been a couple weeks. Before I even got here, I started having conversations with then Captain Massey, and right away we kind of hit it off. Our leadership styles are the same, our values are the same, we're very similar, and I can just tell right away that he's very dedicated to not only the profession of law enforcement, but also to this department in this city. He bleeds Port Royal, and he's a shining example for every officer in this department and anybody that hopes to become part of the Port Royal Police family. So I just want to personally thank him for being so welcoming, for showing me the ropes. I rely on him every day. I actually have a desk on pile of paper on my desk. It's called the Ask Andre pile, and I got to ask Andre about this. Got to ask him about it. So he's doing me a favor by accepting this promotion, and I'm very happy that I'm able to be here and do this today. So if you would like to come up, we'll do the oath of office. Captain Massey.
Come on, family.
You want to introduce your beautiful wife?
Somebody got the Bible?
Yes. I'd like to introduce
Christina, you want to hold the Bible?
the actual person that keeps me in line. This is my wife, Christina Massey. I swear to God.
Okay, if you could put your hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Raise your right hand, correct? Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I'm duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties
to exercise the duties
of the office to which I've been elected
to the office in which I've been elected
and appointed,
and appointed,
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
and that I will, to the best of my abilities,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve,
and preserve,
protect, and
and
defend the Constitution
defend the Constitution
of this state
of this state,
and of the United States,
of the United States.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Traded in those captain bars.
Will do.
And then you need to take pictures of you and your wife.
Are you Deputy Chief?
All right, well, that was a great way to start it off. Up next, we got another presentation, third annual Beaufort County First Responders Food Drive. Ms. Ginger Marshall with the Beaufort County EMS.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity. So yes, we are conducting the third annual Beaufort County First Responder Food Drive. And what that is we are asking for in-date, non-perishable items to be collected through December 13th, and we're going to distribute them between Help of Beaufort and Bluffton Self-Help. We have all the first responder agencies, City Fire Department, Port Royal PD involved with it, as well as other agencies throughout the county. And what this came from is several years ago, we were speaking amongst each other, and we had our own personnel helping out families, helping out people when they needed assistance, whether it was with landscaping, food, that sort of thing. And we realized that there really was a need for something maybe a little bit bigger to help the agencies as well. Asking around, we found out about Help of Beaufort and Bluffton Self-Help and what they provide with their food markets to the individuals in Beaufort County. And when I spoke with them about a month or so ago, they have seen an 18% increase in the demand for food products. Bluffton Self-Help, again, is handing out about 40,000 pounds of food a month. Help of Beaufort's got over 100 families, and I'm sure with inflation, that demand has been going up. Normally, we start our food drive in October. However, with Hurricane Helene and the subsequent donation drives that were going on for those that were affected by Helene, we pushed it back to November 1st. So November 1st through December 13th, we're asking for your assistance with getting the word out, social media, any of your committed groups. And we've got a box right out here in the lobby, which I saw someone has donated. I'm ecstatic to see that food coming in. And just in-date, non-perishable items. And we'll deliver that food the week of December 16th to those two agencies. Are there any questions about the program that I can answer for you right now?
So when's the last time to bring food?
December 13th.
Absolutely, thank you very much. We'll promote this and push it out there. And I can tell you, just working with Help of Beaufort, yeah, you're right. As soon as they get stuff on the shelves, it's gone.
And
very
most
quickly.
of the food drives that you see are usually around the Thanksgiving time frame, and people forget about the Christmas holiday into the new year. And, these agencies are in need of food, constantly, so.
Well, and I was thinking about that when we did, a couple weeks ago, we had Hurricane Helene, and this community came together and did a big, everybody was dropping off goods and sending them up there, and it was so overwhelming. And then just kind of thinking, if you have the ability, you can do that throughout the whole year. It doesn't have to be just when, if you go to the grocery store and you're able to, pick up a few things.
Right. Just pick up an extra can of food, that you might not need
do it
yourself.
throughout the year, yeah.
Right, and just make sure it's in date, because we have to provide in-date food items to them, so.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Thank you for
evening.
what you
Thank
do
you.
with it.
Okay. Up next, council briefing.
All right, we'll go over a number of our capital projects. Speed humps, we've received a quote from Blake to install the speed humps for town roads and SCDOT roads, including Lenora, Casablanca, and West Vine. We are going to ask them to revisit the speed limit on Drayton. Basically, y'all heard the feedback we got last month, so we're working on that. The quote also includes the road resurfacing for 9th, 10th, and 11th in Madrid, which also was being done at the same time as we address some of the stormwater issues. Port property, Spanish Moss Trail. We're still working on the easement portions of that. Go ahead.
Just with the speed bumps, is there any conversations about over around 16th Street and Richmond?
Oh, we've got
Just
an
right
entire
around Bruce
map.
Edgerly, because there was one and then we took it up. So.
Oh, no, we've got, go ahead.
We've got the 16th side of Bruce Edgerly, the 14th and Old Shell side of Bruce Edgerly.
Okay.
We're holding off on the Richmond side until the county does their parking
Okay.
along the playground side on Richmond.
Great.
And we'll put the map, yeah. We'll put the map in, it shows you where all of them are located. All right. Spanish Moss Trail Path, the TAPS portion of it is on hold until we work out the easement issues relative to Safe Harbor. West Paris Avenue, the notice to proceed has been issued, the contract's been executed. We're doing utility locates, and Joko is currently staking out for construction. Villages, 30% design was approved by council. We're moving forward with Four Waters on the 100% design and the bid documents. Paris Avenue streetscape, I'm going to allude to a little bit further down, but obviously y'all remember the presentation that was made. 12th Street school parking, that is basically done. I think we have one box that we're looking to address that says 95% complete. I know that he was looking at the elevation of that one box, so I think we're in a little bit of gravel. 12th Street Alano, I don't know if any of y'all have had an opportunity to go by, but that is under construction.
Looks good.
Moving forward. Yep. And then we'll work on the other side of the road shortly thereafter.
Thank you.
Casablanca drainage improvements, we're still working on that drainage analysis. We had a big meeting last week with Michael and obviously kind of laid out the importance of that. Town water CIP master plan, the Atlas is finishing up the survey work, and Four Waters is putting together the drainage models. Paris Avenue Streetscape CDBG grant application, we will be putting something together for the first quarter of 2025 to submit for hopefully a significant grant. You know, obviously we're doing phase one up near the police department, and the Cypress wetlands will kind of be the kind of a prototype for what we'll hopefully see for the remainder. Obviously, Bering Utilities is a big piece of that, and we all know that that's a $5-6 million chunk of that 15 to 16 million. So, sanitary sewer, you know, this master plan is now in place. You know, we've kind of laid the groundwork. Obviously, we anticipated some of this being done in conjunction with the potential revisit of Rebo Road, but obviously the referendum went down in smoke last night, so we'll have to revisit funding options for that. Sand Beach Causeway, the critical line delineation has been done by OCRM, which kind of guided the modeling work for the bridge construction, which is both a vehicle and pedestrian bridge. You know, one of the options that we discussed was, could you pipe it? But OCRM, or DES as they're calling it now, Department of Environmental Services, would prefer to see a wood or a bridge, if you will. Obviously, this is going to change the aesthetics significantly. I believe in your folders is a schematic, gives you an idea of what the scope of that work would be. Once that is done and the bulkheads are put in place, we'll be able to do maintenance in perpetuity for that, not only the bridge, but the surface inside of that bulkhead. Previously, we could not do that, but since we've had the delineation, we put the bulkhead in, we basically have an open-ended permit to do whatever work we need to do to grade it out. All right.
No,
It's a solution. That's a long-term solution.
Oh, yeah,
So
absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah, we, so
And it's
just-
not inexpensive.
Oh, no, no,
I
no.
know.
So, and just to let everybody know, we, I don't know if I mentioned at the last meeting, you know, there was a hospitality conference that they had down in the city of Beaufort, and this blew me away. They talked about the top 5 tourist attractions, Scott was there, in northern Beaufort County. And they were Fripp Island, Hunting Island, Henry Chambers Park, and then Paris Island and Sands Beach. Sands Beach was the top 5. Number 6, Cypress Wetlands. Yes.
Wow.
But no, so two of the top 5 top tourist attractions are in the city of Beaufort, one being Sands Beach. So this council is very committed to Sands Beach, doing what we can do to preserve and protect it and have it open for generations to come. So that's great news.
Absolutely. One of the other projects we're undertaking as well is a revisit of the public works facilities. We need to we're doing some conceptual work to address drainage and maybe some hard surfacing to make things a little bit easier to maneuver in and out. Obviously, there's reconstruction of the fence that's going to happen, make that access point a little bit easier for the guys as well. Naval Hospital sidewalk, yeah, that's been in the briefing since 2015. Megan Grove, who kind of guided us through this last effort, which actually made it happen, working with Laurel Roten with the Naval Hospital, is changing positions, but she's agreed to stay on to make sure that this project actually gets let the first part of 2025. So we're very excited about that one, and I thanked her profusely for her work with us on this particular project. Safe Harbor, we're working hopefully with them to some sort of solutions in the next couple of months, and hopefully eventually we'll have some exciting news to announce. So, Sands Beach Task Force, they will have their first meeting tomorrow, so we're very excited about that. That goes hand in hand with what you were just talking about with the improvements to Sands Beach, and I think conceptually they'll have some framework to work within, but I think the changes that we'll see there will be very exciting. very exciting. Sands Beach, just as I mentioned, I included in the folder the critical line delineation as well as the conceptual plan. We'll make sure we have that image to show at the next meeting. We'll have that available so everybody can take a look at it. Maybe we'll do a big board and put it out. I kind of went through it pretty significantly, but we're pretty excited about that. And, we had Newkirk come out and do a critical line delineation. OCRM came out and pretty much modeled it the same way. They were a little less generous than Newkirk was, but we wanted to make sure that we could do the proper maintenance within the bulkhead, so it's exciting. ARPA, Brooks put together the table that gives you a department-by-department breakdown of the expenditures, anticipated expenditures, and what will be under contract. As we all know, every single dollar has to be under contract or obligated by December 31 of 2024, and we will have that done.
Not giving any back.
No. Absolutely.
There's always some debt you can pay down or something.
Yeah. And just legal, we did file an answer in response to the Getsy lawsuit relative to the right-of-way issues. So that's been done, and we did have a virtual hearing on that zoning board of appeal decision, and that was yesterday. We do already have an opinion, or excuse me, a response from the judge who did deny the appeal of the ZBA decision. So the next step potentially is Supreme Court, but we'll see where that goes.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
All right. Any comments or questions for staff? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. It's a lot of work. Y'all do a good job. So, up next, review agenda for November 13th, 2024 council meeting. I can go. First thing we have for the agenda next week is a retirement of deputy chief. So, bringing one on, just having one step aside. Yep. That's good. He's done an amazing job though. So, kind of happy for him, but sad to see him go.
All right, I will start with first readings. 2024-18, an ordinance to authorize the town manager to convey excess real property. Put that one up there. To facilitate construction of sidewalks within the town described as Beaufort County, Taxes 110, Map 10, Parcel 0316. This is property located at 1066 12th Street. This is a small one. It's only 45 feet. But it is a filler sidewalk, so it is in compliance with the sidewalk construction policy. Typically, we would do something that small, but since it's filling in a gap in our sidewalk network, that's why we're moving forward with it. Here, and let's give you a little better idea. Any questions on that? All right. The next one is 2024-19, an ordinance amending Chapter 12, Article 5, short-term rentals of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Port Royal, South Carolina. I believe today. I believe we have the chair of the task force, who should be thanked profusely for her efforts and getting everybody together.
I was about to say, there was, just to kind of give everybody a little background of how we got here, was we had to put together a task force about 7 months ago, 5 people, and they have worked their butts off on this. They've most groups get together once a month. They have met every Thursday on this issue. And again, I would say, from the feedback and reading the minutes, there was definitely a diversity of opinions, but they've come together and in the spirit of, compromise, and that's what it's all about. That's what we're doing here. This is what they've come up with and presenting to the council. So thank you all again. Like I said, meeting every week is a pretty big task. So.
And if I could say their names,
Yes.
I'm Barbara Berry, and Megan LaFontaine, Debbie Ball, and David Fletcher, and Wendy Zare. So it was a team of 5, and I don't know if y'all have the document in your, okay? So I am not going to read it to you,
Yes.
and I know you're glad about that. But I just want to hit upon the main things about this that we worked on and troubled over and had to vote, and often, I don't know if we were unanimous very often. So it took a lot of talking. But we did divide the town into 5 segments. unlike the map from before, I think it was double that. So we knocked it down to 5. And so you can see how that is. We wanted to preserve short-term rental rights, and so we put in legacy information so that, which it's called legacy now instead of grandfather. So legacy rights. So if you have one right now, you will be untouched by any cap, okay?
What if you sell the property?
If you sell the property, we have put in that it can be transferred for one time, so that the person who buys it knows that when they sell it, they might not be able to get a license. We troubled over that, now it's y'all's trouble. Okay?
And it was, and they have, I think, it said 6 months.
Yes, exactly.
To do that. So
We
there's a
tried to
process.
lean towards owners' rights as much as possible, putting in the legacy. We have a big part in there about if someone dies and how their family can get it. So people who have it will keep it, and people who say my property will be devalued when I sell it, you can sell it and take that license. They can take it one time. So
That's it.
that's it. And then after that, when those folks decide that they want
can't
to,
take it.
they
That's
can't
it.
sell it.
Right.
They can't sell it, but they can get in line, or maybe there will be one available. You don't
They can
know.
apply for one. is
They
what
can
you're
apply
saying.
for one,
But that
absolutely.
would be, that, you get that license, you get like one mulligan, if you will.
Yeah.
One
yeah,
use for it, and that's it.
Yeah. So.
What was
that-
it, you said y'all thought a lot about that. Tell me, just kind of,
Well, I mean,
that's the one item, the whole thing that I'm
Right.
struggling with. So I want to ask you,
Well,
convince me. How did you
right.
come to that?
Because our task was to protect the public health, safety, and general welfare of individuals and the community at large. Our task was to think what is best for the community of Port Royal. And we deemed that there's enough short-term rentals. And so we want a cap of 6%. Now it's up to y'all what you want. But we voted on 6%. And we put in these caveats of transferring because we do respect property owners' rights. And we also put in all these ADUs, so additional dwelling units that are being built on the property of a person who pays a 4% rate. That will not count in short-term rentals. They still have to have a business license because it needs to be safe, but it will not count. So that is left wide open. Also, if you wanted to rent a room in your home, business license again, but no, you are not affected by the cap. So right now, we are over the cap in Districts 1, which y'all have the demarcations in your package, District 2. District 3 can take 1 or 2 more short-term rentals. Okay, that's above 16th, I believe. And then you have District 4 across Ribault. You can have lots. The numbers in here, I mean, we're talking about 120, okay? And then across the road, there can be plenty. If, part of it that people came in the audience that spoke, and every time we had a very active outer ring, and they spoke and they gave great ideas and suggestions that we integrated into what we were doing. Very thankful for all the citizens who came to the meeting, as they will be coming to the meetings when you put this forward. That there's growth in areas that are close to Paris Island. And if folks are coming to see their marine, they're going to be even closer if they rent something in 4 or 5. So it's there. It's just not in the village right now. You ask your question again.
Well, I can,
Go ahead.
I just, how I'm kind of looking at that, because with that issue, and where you're coming from, we've chatted about it. I like that compromise of that, because of what it's, if you've come here and you have a short-term rental, and you have that now, and your plan was, at some point, I'm going to sell it and have it, it doesn't take that away from that person that has been their plan the whole long. But now the second person that comes in and buys it, they know what they're buying. They are knowing that this can't be taken away. But someone that has one now, we're not taking that from them. That maybe that was their long-term plan, and so
Right.
they can do that for once, but that buyer comes in and they buying knowing what they're getting, so.
That's reasonable. I get it. That's what I was trying to get my head
Yeah,
around.
that's kind of how I'm
But
looking
to
at
me,
it.
to me, that is reasonable.
Yep.
You get to do it one time, and the next time is not a maybe, the next time is a no. The next time it's not a variance, the next time I'm telling you right from jump.
You gotta apply.
Here's the deal.
Yep, get in line.
Unless they're
Right.
under the cap.
You have to apply.
And that's basically it. There's other stuff about parking and the minimum stay, the number of guests, all those
Yeah.
standard things. The big thing is, and the final thing we decided on was the 6% cap. And-
Well, I'll say, like, again, y'all done a great job, and I really appreciate it. I mean, and kind of, just to tell everybody, if you look at what this council, and I think we talk and what we've tried to do, and if you look at it throughout the year, this council is trying to look at the town, know that the town's growing, knowing that the town's going to continue to grow, and what are we preserving and protecting for future generations? What kind of town are we handing off to future councils, future mayors? Because there will be other councils, there will be other mayors. So we've done things that make Port Royal special, our environment, tree ordinance, strongest in the state. We just put regulations on how much it costs to cut down live oaks here. The aesthetics of the town, we just removed storage units from the major roadways. And now this is an attempt to create that balance of a neighborhood and keep the neighborhoods. And so, again, you had people on that want no cap, you got people that want no short-term rentals, you got people that wanted 10%, people that wanted 4%. You've come down, you voted, you compromised, and came to 6%. You know, I think that's very reasonable. Another reason why that 6 is good for me personally is that's what the city of Beaufort's at. That's their cap. And so it doesn't, with the municipality that we butt right up against, it doesn't pit us against them. They can't be gaming it. We're in line with the city of Beaufort at that number, so.
And we are not shutting down short-term rentals. There are lots of opportunities,
absolutely.
over 100.
And I love that about it too,
Yeah.
that they have those numbers, but I like that you did take out the 4% properties. So if you're a
Right.
Port Royal, essentially if you're a
Yeah.
Port Royal resident,
Yeah.
this doesn't even apply to you. I mean, so if you live here, I mean, if you're living here and you're a full-time resident, you can, like you said, an ADU, room in your house, and those are, I think, really create the best of both worlds in a urban area that we live in. For when you talk about density, you get a house, you get the resident that's here, living in the community, working in the community, you know, all the time, and then you also have the, you know, the rental, where that could be a traveling nurse, that could be a police officer, a teacher, or it could be the tourist that comes in, and so you get the most bang for your buck on a piece of property with that right there, so.
Well, we had a great staff working with us. We could not have done it without Lisa and Brooke and Amber.
What-
They were holding our hand the whole time.
One question I had for staff, and I was going to ask, when I was reading through it, it says if you do have the ADU and you're short-term renting it, it says that you're required to provide parking if possible, like that language is in there, if possible. Is that, will anybody really do it if it says that? And the reason why I say that is I just don't want, you know, if you've got a house and they've already got 2 cars and then they build an ADU and now you got short-term rental bringing in 2 cars, and I mean, I think they should kind of, if you're going to do it, you need to have, just like if you have a business, you got to provide, you know, you should have parking for it.
So we have parking regulations for ADUs in the zoning code.
Okay.
Which we are looking at during our code review right now, so they will probably be better. So that's I think that this is kind of just double dipping and redundancy on purpose.
Okay.
But the zoning code for a new build, you have to have an additional parking space for an ADU.
On the property. Okay.
Well,
Your
and
software's
plus,
up and running too, right, correctly? The software to keep the account of
Right,
the
yeah.
short-term rental, is it up and running?
Yep.
Okay. Well, that was the only question I was just, that language, if possible. I was like, well.
Well,
I
and
kinda
then-
know it feels like you're like, well, it's not possible.
In-
So, not doing it.
That would be, so, sorry, Barbara, I didn't mean to. The if possible, there's a couple of those with the
Right.
parking. I think that it's partially because there are residential units that don't have on-site parking. They're old, you know, my old place on 9th and Paris, there's no on-premises parking at that place, but they could apply for a short-term rental. So that kind of thing, there's weird circumstances. All of that is taken care of in the zoning code.
and staff will take care of it.
Okay.
That's good.
And, you know, with it being an ADU, I see the homeowner coming out saying, hey, how you doing? let me take you upstairs to where you're staying, and we're going to let you park right over here.
It's perfect.
You know,
It really
I
is
mean,
good.
that's my dream world.
It's
you know,
it's a
so.
great balance. And like I said, and just, speaking to what this is doing, and again, it is really about creating that balance and that predictability, which is the whole purpose of a planning code. It's why we all have the home values that we have, is because there's predictability. When you buy that house, it's in a neighborhood. It's not, that's why we don't have a liquor store next to the school, and there's not a lumber yard on 9th Street, and there's not a construction site or a concrete company. I mean, businesses and usages are zoned in that way to create the predictability. When someone moves, I know I'm moving into a neighborhood. I know what I'm moving beside. I know what I'm getting. And so this is just an extension of that. So.
It is, and it is. And we hand it off to y'all.
Okay. Would anybody have any questions for Ms. Barber? Okay.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
Thank you. Great job. Seriously,
Well
great
done.
job.
Thank you.
Okay. Resolutions?
Resolution, a resolution of the Town of Port Royal, South Carolina. Town Council approving the expenditure of ARPA funds for fiscal year 2024-2025. Attached was a table in your folders that kind of gave you a rundown of, by department, of what those expenditures entailed. Let me see if I can just put this up for you guys real quick. Give me a second. I'm going to the Town Projects tab, and I just want y'all to have an understanding of where we are. As you can see, much of those we discussed during the beginning of my briefing, having to do stormwater master planning, fund matches for the grants, sidewalk construction, Paris Avenue improvements, boardwalk tower. We did, as part of and just so something we'll be discussing a little bit later, we do have a bid for repair of the boardwalk, but one of the things that we were looking at prior to the storm was some structural issues related to the tower. So that's why you see that expenditure located there.
Yeah, that's glad to see that. Again, we talk about how important that area is, and preserving those assets for the town. And I mean, you see how Mother Nature always wins, and you keep an eye on her. You see what's going on with the city of Beaufort and their park, and so those things that are sitting in salt water. I mean, we just got to protect them. So.
Yeah, you see obviously the Casablanca Park playground and
Thank
equipment
you.
installed. The speed humps there, and just I was alluding to, this is what the price tag of a lot of that work at the Sands Beach is going to entail. So it's pretty significant. It's
It
about
is.
$1.65 million. So, and then just kind of a breakdown. As you can see, most of those dollars have been delineated, including a potential splash pad. We're working on a meeting with the county to come up with a good location for that. And then right now, we're looking at an undesignated amount of remaining money about there. I think we've got a little bit of wiggle room. There was a piece of equipment that we're contemplating, but obviously we were looking at improvements to Public Works site versus the piece of equipment. There's some
That's
logistical
great.
issues.
Yeah, well, I'd love to see the Public Works getting that uplift. I mean,
They need
those are the people that's the service that people engage with the most. I mean, people, fortunately are not always calling the police department. They're not always calling the fire department, but that ground crew, the people that are doing the pickup, the trash, the cleanup, the streets. I mean, that's what you see every day. That's what they interact with. So giving those guys what they need and stepping that up. Again, as the town continues to grow, we're kind of getting that set up, setting them up for success going forward.
So y'all will have that resolution to take a
Okay.
look at. Let's go to council action, approval of repairs to Sand Beach Boardwalk and Tower from damage incurred from Hurricane Helene. We did receive one bid for repairs to the boardwalk. It was an amount of $77,000, but we're looking at it under that contract to address some of the pilings. So we'll bring that to you formally next week for review. We have them also looking at the structural issues, because that's the type of work they do at the tower as well. So,
What are they going to do with the parts that
It's flowing out.
washed away?
well, I had one request from a gentleman who got married on the boardwalk that he'd like a piece of it.
Oh, okay.
So his wife's asked it to be shaped into a baseball bat. So we're not sure what we're going to do with this piece of
Oh,
stuff.
okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just a trip
looks
to
like
go
a
down
new
there.
walkway
Yeah,
right
it does,
now.
I know.
It
Like
looks
you
like a
look
new
at it, you're
walkway.
like, we could get a walkway right there. It might be nice. It's kind of putting it in
Absolutely.
people's heads, yeah.
So we'll figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild, so.
And then also next week, approval amendment to the Cherry Hill Park MOA. This is obviously the location of the largest tree, live oak tree in Beaufort County, which is located in Port Royal. This would formalize that relationship between the town and the county regarding ongoing maintenance, working with the Friends Group as well. We made some minor modifications relative to the drip line. It's kind of proximity to what the pathway would be, but this would ensure protection to the tree, including lightning protection. Obviously, we thought that was significantly important, particularly as we got through hurricane season, or almost through hurricane season. And this will provide significant protection to the tree and get us to where we need to be with public access to that tree.
Yeah. And just to say, Councilwoman Howard's back here, and just say thank you for her work on this. It's a really great project, and it just shows when you got, multiple municipalities, government is working together, public, private, all coming together and really doing something great. I think it might be, or they say it's is it the oldest? It's the biggest? It's just,
Pretty sure.
gotcha. So it'll be great when that gets opened up, and it can really become a real treat for people to go visit. So.
Yeah, and thank you, Ms. Howard, too, for the safety locks at the school park, at the park on Richmond. I know I hounded, but it was just a safety thing for me, and thank you for getting that done.
They're working great. I was over there the other day.
Yeah, Kevin couldn't get out of there. He was
What is this? Yeah.
Well, we know a child can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. I just had to jump it.
All right, important dates. I'll go to the main agenda. Thursday, November 7th, Sand Beach Task Force at 4 p.m. I like how y'all put a 5 p.m. end time on that. Also on Thursday, the 7th, the Design Review Board at 5:30. Saturday, November 9th, the Low Country Pride Festival. Monday, November 11th, Veterans Day, we will be closed. And then on Wednesday, the 13th, our regular council meeting. And I'll go over the other ones just real quickly, something we mentioned as well. Tuesday, November 19th, Meet the Chief at 8:30 a.m. November 19th, also the Historic Preservation Committee meeting from 3 to 4. Also on Tuesday the 19th, the Redevelopment Commission meeting from 4:30 to 5:30. Monday the 25th, the Planning Commission meeting. And then Thursday, the 28th and 29th, obviously Friday as well, we will be closed in observance of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Sounds good. We got public comment coming up. Anything from council? Okay. All right, we'll go with public comment. I got a stack of them right here. We're just gotta go through that. And just so everyone remembers, if they can, we've got the 3-minute timer. Just try to be respectful for that. If not, it beeps. It's very loud. And so we can just be respectful of the 3-minute timer. So up first, Ms. Colleen Johnson.
Well, hello, everybody, and I've heard such good news. Colleen Johnson from 4 Camp Saxton Way, and everything I'm hearing here today just has me excited because I know that you all are listening. And my reason for speaking now is because I was president of the Old Tabby Homeowners Association, and my brother was just elected last night, so he'll be taking over for me. But the one question that's still lingering is, when are they going to pick up all the mess from our big storms? Because I've put in several calls, I haven't gotten a call back.
We can get on that.
Pardon?
So we can get on that. So.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Next, Mr. Tim Ball. Okay. Up next, Scott Clark.
Mayor, Council, Scott Clark, 1012 11th Street. I want to thank the task force for their hard work, short-term rental task force, for their hard work and dedication over the last several months on the ordinance. I'd also like to thank staff for redrafting it. I just got it 30 minutes ago, so I haven't had a thorough chance to read it, but from what I've read so far, I can fully support the thing, with one possible exception that I'd like to suggest. I heard the conversation back and forth earlier about the ADUs. My issue with ADUs is if it's not in the 6%, if it's not in the cap, then, I get it with legacy. They're allowed to have it when they're legacy, but 2 sales from now, if it's not in the cap, or even 1 sale from now, another ADU goes up and it increases our cap rate even further. So there, in my opinion, there needs to be a balance there. It needs to be consistent all the way through the amendment. But other than that, I think it's fantastic. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Up next, Mr. Charlie Bray.
Charlie Bray, 806 11th Street. I have three, it says short-term rental, I actually have three things. One, since Alice is here, I'm going to say, please help with the boat landing. Okay, okay. Okay, all right. Okay, that's number one. Number two is the new playground. I saw the new lock. It works pretty well. I like that. We need another trash can there. That trash can is overflowing all the time. Okay. We were up there today, and there's a lot of trash inside, and you know who picks it up, and if there's no trash can, put it in. Right. Okay. The short-term rental task force, I think, has done a great job. I was part of the outer ring. I made it to, I bet, 80% of the meetings. They worked hard. Good compromise. I'm not sure about the accessory dwelling units not being part of the cap. That's obviously something you could address if it gets out of hand, but that would be my only problem with it as it stands. I like the 6%. I think that allows growth in the other areas, and it helps maintain the neighborhood feel, was what you all were after. I have to reiterate how helpful it was to have these people support this task force, especially Lisa. I mean, she did a great job, and it made it a lot easier for them to do their work. And so I want to thank them for that.
Give our raise. Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, great. So, I didn't have one, but Miss Zara, and then I got a couple emails that we were sent to read, and I'll read those once. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Good evening, Wendy Zara. I live on 4th Street, and I was on the short-term rental task force, and I want to thank the council for being responsive to the community's desires to really have an ordinance that governed the rentals. And I especially want to thank Barbara for being our leader, and the staff was really great. The issue that I have is this presentation was not on the agenda for tonight. I looked last night, it wasn't there. I've had people calling me up, well, where is it? I'm not going to go if it's not there. I looked again this morning, it wasn't on. I sent an email to Van, he said it's on. I went back and looked again, it wasn't on. And P.S., the one for next week wasn't up either. This is an item that's significant interest to the public. And people really, I think of Port Royal as being a very transparent, local, responsive government. And I would like to suggest, first of all, I think it's a violation of the Freedom of Information Act, but second of all, I would really like to recommend that anytime, this happened with the tree ordinance too, that it be a special, separate item on the agenda so that people know and they can come and participate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
Okay, and like I said, I've got two emails here to read. 3 minutes. Dear Mayor Phillips and Town Council, I'm writing in support of keeping the short-term rentals for our town just as they are. To my knowledge, there have been very little complaints concerning short-term rentals. I understand an area such as the village may be short on parking availability at times, but please do not penalize the entire town of Port Royal. Please remember our motto, cool, coastal, and far from ordinary. That is truly what sets us apart from other areas. I want to see Port Royal be the best town in South Carolina. I also believe people are moving here because of our uniqueness. I have also invested in the town and believe this would affect our property values. This is my professional opinion of 42 years in the real estate industry. People coming to Parris Island desire to stay in Port Royal, and lodging is very limited. The motels that are available do not give full experience of Port Royal. Often after visiting, they want to purchase property here because of the experience that they had in a home setting that short-term rentals offer. When traveling personally, I always look for Airbnbs and VRBOs and enjoy them. The owners of short-term rentals are paying 6% assessment, as you know, which are very high and offer increased revenues for the town. Being a short-term rental owner is a ton of work, making sure the property always is 100% at all times, so I believe it adds value and flavor to our town. I respectfully request you protect our property rights and vote no cap on this very important issue. I will not be able to attend the November 6th workshop, so please include in the meetings reading at council. Thank you all for your time in council. I understand it's not easy making decisions like this. Sincerely, Carol Poole of Palmetto Sea Island Real Estate, 928 Bay Street, Beaufort, South Carolina. And then I've got one more here. More. And then one more here. Dear Mayor and council members, the Short-Term Rental Committee has worked diligently over many months to develop a short-term rental ordinance that will guide future development and ensure neighborhoods in our community will always feel like neighborhoods. Thank you for listening to the citizens of Port Royal who asked for the council to look at the issue of short-term rentals, and thank you for putting together a committee whose composition was representative of differing viewpoints. I urge you to debate the merits of this proposed ordinance during council workshop and then vote to support it at your next meeting. I would appreciate if you would read this email during public comment, as I am not able to attend in person. Sincerely, Tricia Fidrich, 1016 12th Street. Well, that's that. Any from council?
Did you get one from Stephen Walton?
I did not.
Yeah, read it.
Yeah.
Regarding short-term rentals workshop, include this in the minutes and read at the council workshop. Good evening, Mr. Ashmore. Thank you for your service to our town council. Writing about tomorrow evening's council workshop and the scheduled discussion on short-term rentals in Port Royal. I request that you do not cap short-term rentals because they are a great benefit to the residents of Port Royal and also to others. Municipal policies ought to be beneficial, first to our residents and also to others. The short-term rental business is beneficial to all. As for Port Royal residents, short-term rentals bolster the local economy. We live in a beautiful place and lots of people want to come visit. When they do, they patronize local businesses and pump money into the Port Royal economy. They bolster tax revenue, they grow our tourism. Port Royal residents benefit from all of this. If we cap short-term rentals, we will start dying as a tourism destination. As for others, our community draws people for various reasons. As you know, the beauty and unique personality of Port Royal draws tourists. Tourists need places to stay. If there's no room or they get priced out, they will go elsewhere. Let's welcome them. And there's also the matter of the Marine Corps. No other community is more convenient for families of the Marine recruits in Port Royal. We are Paris Island's next door neighbor. For thousands of families from around the country, every year we are a destination point. These are, in so many cases, people who wouldn't be able to make Port Royal their home, but they want to come honor their loved ones who have signed up to protect our rights and freedoms. Let's give them places to stay. Let's show our gratitude for their service to us. And again, when they do come, our economy benefits from them being here. For your information, I do not own a short-term rental. Furthermore, I live within a block or two of multiple short-term rentals, which are routinely rented by families of Marine recruits. My experience has always been that these families are respectful of the residents and do not cause complaints. Please do not cap short-term rentals. They're an essential component of Port Royal's prosperity. Very respectfully, Steve Walton, 820 15th Street.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. At this time, we have executive session, so I'll entertain a motion that we go into executive session.
So moved.
All right. And just for the public, we have a personnel matter to discuss as well as a potential property purchase are the two topics. So purchase of property and then a personnel issue. So all right. Well, thank you all so much. Again, we'll go into executive session. We'll come out and make if we have any action, we'll speak.
Going.
Okay, and entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
So move.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
No action taken.
Yes, and so out of executive session, no action was taken. Again, we're discussing a personnel matter and a potential property purchase issue. Before we end tonight, it was brought to my attention that we did have one more email for public comment that I missed, and so I'd like to read that in. Please include this email in your minutes and read at the council meeting on November 6th. Greetings and good evening, Town Council. It is with regret that I'm unable to attend this very important meeting regarding the future of short-term rental licenses in Port Royal. My name is Tina Kelly. I have owned the Dolphin Duplex located at 907 8th Street, Port Royal, since 2015. It has been a successful short-term rental for nearly a decade and longer than most of the people on 8th Street. Successfully, the Dolphin Duplex has provided accommodations to marine families, local families who do not have enough space, traveling medical professionals, folks who need temporary housing during renovations, and all who support our local economy, frequent our restaurants and stores while they are here, and celebrating their newly minted marine. As you know, the property was put on the market in 2024, and although it did not sell, it was a desirable property for many buyers to be able to live in one side, rent the other, or rent both sides with a transferable short-term rental license. Denying a potential buyer the opportunity to provide a rental on a multi-unit is infringing on property rights of both the seller, me, and the potential buyer. I have respectfully paid my accommodation dues monthly, done over 100,000 in upgrades, including interior, exterior, landscaping, improving the value of my property, as well as my neighbors. In the nearly 10 years, I have never received a single complaint from my neighbors. Most of my neighbors moved in and I purchased in 2015 and have continued to tell me how nice the tenants and marine families are, how nice the property looks with the improvements and much more. As an owner, I have brought the value of the neighborhood with increased property values and commerce. Denying the transfer of a short-term rental license to a prospective buyer is preventing them from generating income to offset taxes, insurance, upkeep until they can live here full-time. Denying a transferable license to a seller significantly lessens the potential for all long-standing successful short-term rentals. Expecting a new buyer of a multi-unit duplex to not rent out one is simply unrealistic. Expecting a new buyer of a multi-unit duplex to be on a indefinite waiting list is even more impractical and fiscally negligent. I implore the wisdom and forethought of the council and see that the value of allowing any short-term rental that is bought and sold have full and transferable licenses granted to the new owner. Please allow the new owner to continue to promote and support local businesses and restaurants by allowing the existing license to transfer with the building, be bought and sold. Thank you for your time. Tina Kelly. Oh, wait. Dolphin Duplex, Port Royal. Gotcha. Okay, so that was that. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to, anything else for the good of the town?
Oh, adjourn.
They can, actually, that.
Yes, no, she is, what she's asking is, it's in there. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Gotcha. All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.